and welcome to today's video. I'm about to go out. I'm going on a trip to visit the gardens of Badminton House, and I'm really looking forward to it because it is the house belonging to the Duke and Duchess of Beaufort. So it's not a house that's open to the public or opened regularly. They open it a few times a year for the public to come and look around the gardens, and I'm really excited. I've booked these tickets a while ago and I'm about to go with my sister now. Badminton House is a Grade 1 listed country house located in the village of Badminton in Gloucestershire and has been home to the Dukes of Beaufort since the 17th century. When you hear the name badminton, your mind probably turns to the sport, and in fact you would be correct in doing so. The origins of the sport date back to games from ancient civilizations in Europe and Asia, such as battledore and shuttlecock. Badminton as we know it today is believed to be derived from a game played by army officers in 1863 at Badminton House, which gave the game its name. Even the entrance hall of the house has the same dimensions as a modern badminton court. The estate encompasses much more history than you might think upon first glance. Within can be found the remains of a number of Roman villas, and badminton is even recorded in the Domesday Book, although under a slightly different name, Madmintune, which over time changed to Badminton. Originally there stood a medieval manor house which was owned by the Boteler family until 1612, when the manor was bought by Edward Somerset, the 4th Earl of Worcester. The estate was then inherited by his son, Sir Thomas Somerset, who was the first to modernise the original house. It was his great-nephew Henry Somerset, the 3rd Marquess of Worcester, who was granted the Dukedom of Beaufort by King Charles II in 1682, following the Civil War as a reward for his service to the Crown in supporting the Royalists. Badminton has since been visited by several kings and queens, including Charles II, William of Orange on his return from the Battle of the Boyne, and our current Queen's grandmother, Queen Mary, who spent much of World War II here. Queen Elizabeth II is also visited to attend the annual horse trials held on the estate. The new Duke of Beaufort went on to renovate the house, adding classical architectural features such as pediments, cupolas and pavilions, as well as doing significant work on the gardens and grounds. Some of the leading architects and landscape designers of the time were responsible for this work, including William Kent, James Gibbs and Capability Brown. Nicolaus Pevsner even described Worcester Lodge, one of the new outbuildings, as one of the 10 best buildings in England. The current Duke and Duchess of Beaufort are very invested in the gardens, having been personally involved in much of the gardening and maintenance. I was blown away by the beauty they have achieved, and my favourite part was the rose garden, with elegant box hedging framing masses of heavily perfumed roses in delicate pinks, pale yellows and pure white, occasionally interrupted by towers of vibrant foxgloves. Gardens have always played a central role in my life. I have many fond childhood memories of helping my mum in the garden and of visiting gardens all around England. One of my favourite flowers is the peony, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I have a very particular memory connected to this flower. We have a beautiful peony plant in the garden at home, and as a child I used to love collecting the fallen petals in a wicker basket and throwing them in the air like confetti, then collecting them again and repeating the game. Today I love this plant for its richness and beauty, its abundance of flowers with layers upon layers of frilly petals, and its sweet scent. However, maybe there is something in my subconscious which links this flower to happy, carefree days. As well as the formal gardens, I was able to visit the walled garden at Badminton House, which is the kitchen garden providing fruit, vegetables and cut flowers throughout the year. I saw all sorts of plants, from raspberries, strawberries, gooseberries and currants to lettuces, asparagus and tomatoes. I've always wanted to have a vegetable patch when I have a garden of my own someday, as well as the benefits to mental health through gardening, which I find such a peaceful and meditative activity. It is also sustainable because what you grow and consume has 0 food miles, can be grown organically and results in minimal food waste. The greenhouse at Badminton Estate was particularly impressive, and I felt like it was such an inspiring environment with the piles of gardening books, the cuttings and the packets of seeds. It felt like a creative place, a place of beginnings, and I hope to recreate something like this one day. Those of you who have watched my other videos will have seen the success of my strawberry plants this year. I don't have a garden since I live in an apartment, but I can't live without flowers in some form, so I bought stone window planters and have been growing strawberries in the planter by the kitchen window. It was sort of experimental, since I wasn't sure whether a flower pot would be sufficient to produce much fruit, but I've been so pleased with the outcome, and I often start my day by opening the window and picking the newly ripened berries. There are only 2 plants, so there isn't much fruit, but they certainly bring me much joy, and it is a great way to start the day. So I've just come back and I had such a great time. I love going to gardens for inspiration, walking around, and I know a lot of my recent videos are me visiting gardens, but it is the season to go to visit gardens in England. I feel like May, June, and I guess most of July as well, the gardens are at their best. They're full of flowers, and it's rose season at the moment in England, so these gardens were just full of beautiful roses, and it was amazing. And they actually give to each person who visits a little booklet that has a list of all of the flowers that they have in their garden. So if I wanted to buy the same type of flower, then they have all of the names. One day when I have my own garden, this might come in handy because there's a lot of inspiration, especially the borders. They had a bit at the back of the house where there was a mixture of roses, peonies, cosmos, and foxgloves, and they're some of my favourite flowers, and seeing them all together. And I loved the colour palette because it was mainly like pale pinks and pale purples, whites, delicate blues, and it was just such a beautiful palette because I prefer pastel colours for flowers. So I just, it was like in heaven for me to walk around amongst the flowers. And some of the roses smelled so amazing as well, like where they had the orangery, the benches with climbing white roses going all around the windows, and the smell was like nothing I've ever smelled before. It was incredible, so I loved it. And what I also loved is that they had some postcards for sale of paintings done by the Duchess of Beaufort's mother. So the Duchess of Beaufort's mother is the artist Virginia Powell, and she paints, I suppose, and they have some of her artwork on postcards, and I think it's just stunning. So this is the back of the house with some of the hedges and flowers, and then this is the view from inside one of the orangery greenhouse areas, and I just think they're stunning. And then I also got this postcard because it's just a beautiful historic painting of the house, and it's incredible that it's still in the royal family, still amongst, you know, the British aristocracy who live there, and they still live there today. So like I said, you can't go as a visiting house, you just for the special open days you can look around the garden. So it was incredible to go behind the scenes, and it's quite rare to get the opportunity to see actual royal houses, so I thought that was really cool. And actually when I was walking past the house, past the windows, I was looking in, not in a weird creepy way, but just because I wanted to see what it looked like, what the interiors are like, and it was stunning. You could see the chandeliers, and it seemed like they were having a party going on because I could see through one of the windows like the fireplace was on, and there were some people standing around with like drinks and stuff. And then through another window I could see, like as far as the eye could see, these dinner tables set up with crisp white tablecloths and all the plates and cutlery set up, and it was, you know, little candelabras decorating the tables and drinks, and I suppose they must have been having a party going on. I saw some people going in and out the house, but the public only allowed the gardens, they're not allowed inside the house. But still, it was really cool to have a little sneak peek behind the scenes. And even behind the scenes of the gardens, because they had a walled garden you could go to where they had all of the vegetables, the fruits growing. So obviously this time of year they had lots of strawberries, and you could see that the raspberries, the currants, the gooseberries were all coming up, and also the pears and the apples were coming along. So that was really cool. And inside they had all of the gardeners in the greenhouse, and they were chatting to people, giving them information about the gardens. And they also had their workstation, so you could see like the little cuttings and little pots and seeds that they had growing, and their gardening books, and kind of like the clutter behind the scenes. But that's the bit that I like to see, because it's really interesting to see how the gardens run and the kind of workplace that they have. So that was really cool. I loved that. But it's just been such a good day, and yes. The rest of the day I'm probably going to pack because I have a trip coming up, and I will be vlogging it. And I'm not going to say where I'm going yet because it's going to be a surprise, but in the next vlog you'll see it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and subscribe to my channel to join me on more adventures and discover more of England. And I will see you next time. Bye!